I'm going to show you one of the advantages that I like using gouache, because I'm going to be working in this upper portion of the painting. I'm going to put back the tape so that I don't mess up that clean line. And then I'll show you what I'm talking about. When I painted this earlier, when I put this tree in back here, I don't see, the bottom of the tree. You don't see much, anything of the indication that there is even a tree except that. And when I look at this without that, I think it would be better if that was not even there. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wet brush, not excessively wet. I'm going to dab it off here, and I'm going to just come over here and hit that green. I'm not scrubbing, I'm just kind of dabbing. I want to dampen that paint to reactivate it. The first thing I'm going to do is just lift it off. This was just one choice I had. You can reactivate and lift off, or I can even dab it and lift off like that. Okay. The other choice I could have done is just directly paint it on top. But I didn't really want to paint on top of what I had there because I'm going to be using a thin paint. I'm just going to lift off some of the colors that I used previously on this painting, like some of the muted orangey tones, green tones. And because I lifted off and I don't have the thick paint that would then mix in, I can put a thinner wash, because you should put thick over thin. And I didn't want to use this thin paint over thick. So that's why I lifted it off. But I think when I look at this now, I like it better than having that tree just partially there. My other option is, do I want to keep this tree? With gouache, you can reactivate what you have. It's going to be thin, more like watercolor. So if you want something to show up more than just kind of a transparent look, then you're going to have to go from the larger palette or straight from the tube and then mix in some other. So when the paint is thin paint needs to go on thin paint. It needs to be thick over thin, not thin over thick. So hopefully this tip is helpful. I'm going to be doing some more work with gouache in the future, and let me know if that was a good thing or not. Let me know where you're from, actually. I don't ask I don't ask anyone to respond much, and so therefore I don't get a lot of comments or questions, but I really am interested in what y'all think and if what I'm doing is helpful to you. I thought I was recording the other, and I'm sorry I missed it, but a good thing about gouache is you can come back and change things. Like I said, I got rid of the tree that was over here, and the more I looked at it, I didn't like that tree that was just the trunk, and so I tried to add branches up here and add some leaves falling off of it. Well, that looked bad, because in order for the leaves to fall off, I needed to do thicker paint, and if it's further in the distance, it shouldn't have thicker consistency than what's up here. So I decided, oh heck, Kari, just wipe out the whole darn tree. So I made sure my tape was down, and I did what I did with the tree. I wet the area that the tree and lifted it off, dabbed it with a paper towel, let it dry. Didn't quite let it dry enough when I came back in with the fog in here, but that's okay, because the fog does pick up colors that it's near. And added a little more highlight on this tree, extended some of the grasses a little bit where the tree trunk was. Also put some overlapping grasses in front of the sign, because if they're tall enough to be taller than the sign, then something probably will be in front. So honestly, I think I like it better. You tell me if you like it better. Again, gouache, you can rework it, you can lift it, you can layer it. You need to let it dry before you layer it, but you also have to know when to walk away. And sometimes you can overwork a painting. I've done that many times, but I'm going to just leave this one the way it is. I think I'm fine with it. I will take a photograph of it. Sometimes the photographs turn out slightly different, but another advantage of gouache is it dries flat in a matte finish. That's one thing that's nice about it. So it usually does photograph well. Sometimes I just have certain colors that tend to be a little brighter on my phone than they are in person. So Anyway, hope you enjoyed today's video. You got something out of the gouache. If you're a beginner, stay tuned for the next one. I think I'm going to begin with just controlling the paint. But some of what I showed you today, I think will be helpful. So give me a thumbs up if it's helpful. Thanks. Subscribe if it pertains to what you want to learn more of. And I will see you next week.